907 billion naira distributed or shared as federal allocations, and all from the federation account going to states and even local governments. Now we also have seen that there seems to be some level of improvement in remittances by the NNPC. So apparently, until June, the NNPC went about 18 months without remitting monies into the federation account. But since June, the Group CEO of the NNPC, speaking to the National Assembly yesterday, said that they have remitted about 4.5 trillion naira as of October 2023. So from June to October, they had remitted about 4.5 trillion naira. And you wonder why before now they hadn't been remitting those monies. They say, oh, they were paying subsidies, they were doing deductions and all of those other things as a company. Well, there's a lot more question as to why the economy is where it is today and why Nigerians are suffering this much. All right. First of all, we had subsidy removal, subsidy gone. And now World Bank is telling us that we're still paying subsidy because according to the World Bank, Nigerians should be buying fuel at about 750 naira now everywhere in the country. At about 750 naira, would Nigerians be able to survive that? Currently, we're seeing maybe somewhat reflection of the market as according to based on the foreign exchange rates, which is currently at about 900 naira. Looking at the central bank website now, 913 naira as of yesterday. The dollar's close sales at 913 naira to a dollar. And if that's the case, the fact that Nigerians and some parts of the country are already buying fuel for about 700 naira, because in the northeast, some filling stations are selling for about 700 naira or even more. In Kano State, for instance, some filling stations are selling for about 690 naira. Yesterday, in Abuja here, personally, I bought fuel for 660 naira, which can be said to be a reflection of the market changes or the market forces, right? Because before now, the NNPC filling stations were selling at 617 naira, even though some of their pumps have been adjusted to shortchange those who are buying. The other filling stations were selling for about 630 naira and around that. But currently, most filling stations are selling. Other filling stations, aside from the NNPC, are selling at between 650 naira to 670 naira in the FCT. Okay, so it leaves you wondering who to believe, and why is it that the World Bank would always want to, dictate for Nigeria why and how much it should sell, or what it should do with its economy. That's how they, recall how they said, the parallel markets, the federal government defending the naira was wrong. Allow the free float of the naira. Why do we always want to play to the playbooks of the World Bank and IMF? Can't we look inwards, considering the peculiarity of Nigeria as a nation, and figure out solutions for ourselves, which is what it seems like the Buhari administration did by jettisoning all of the advice from the World Bank and all of those other people, even though they were collecting loans from them. It seemed like somewhat they decided, look, let's do what's going to benefit the entirety of Nigerians, to make life a lot easier for them. Let's continue to, defend the naira, even though some people say it's a bad economic policy to defend the naira with our foreign reserves and all of those other, foreign exchange earners. Okay. But then it seemed like life was a lot easier for Nigerians. The payments of subsidy somewhat looked like, it was helping Nigerians survive. Now that the foreign exchange rate has been floated, the dollar against the naira. Someone asked this morning, why are we worried about the dollar? Now, if the crude oil sales and crude oil purchases are tied to the dollar, and the crude oil is our biggest revenue earner in the country, as they say, or foreign exchange earner. Yes, our biggest foreign exchange earner. Then we should be concerned, because those prices affect everything that we do. If the price of crude oil goes up in the market today, the prices of PMS would go up, and the sales of PMS, or the price of PMS, determines the price of most other things. Today, inflation is up over 27%. Nigerians, many economists do not even believe the official figures turned out by the NBS, because it seems like, it doesn't make sense that the prices of things have gone up over 100%, over 300% in some cases, but we still say that inflation is just about 27%. It leaves them wondering as well. So there's a confusion and a lack of trust. Now, that's not all. Sticking to the World Bank and why it would always want to advise, and why Nigeria takes the advice, and it seems like it doesn't really work out for us. Maybe most people would say the things that apply to other countries do not really apply here. So wouldn't it be time for us to abandon advice from the world lenders like the World Bank and IMF, and look inwards to figure out what best works for us as a people? Remember when the former minister of Agriculture, Dr. Adu Ogbe, said something very similar, where he had told us that we have a problem, and that problem is that we have consistently devalued, we adopted the structural adjustments program that led to the devaluation of naira. Now, let me bring you up to speed with something. Since the naira was floating, the naira lost over 40% of its value. This was something that could be advised. Okay, we were told, do this, it's going to be better for your economy. Do not defend, we shouldn't continue to defend the naira and all. But again, it seems like Nigeria defies many others. Apologies for that. Seems like Nigerian economy defies textbook, economics. And maybe we need to really, really look inwards to develop ours. Okay, how many times did the Buhari administration, first of all, remove subsidy in the last administration? We heard subsidy had been removed 3 times, 4 times in that administration, but it never seemed like Nigerians never really felt the impact. It just meant Nigerians paid more every single time, and until now, Nigerians have paying way more than they ever thought they could pay for a commodity that they have. Many have talked about the Dangote refinery coming on stream to solve the problem, especially when it comes to cost of transportation, with Nigerians losing their jobs or quitting their jobs voluntarily because they can no longer afford transportation and all. They say, when Dangote refinery comes on stream, it's going to get things better. Nigeria, the economy, transportation will be cheaper, PMS will be cheaper and all. But again, when would the Dangote refinery come on stream? When would the Port Harcourt refinery come on stream? Doing a bit of an analysis. So the Dangote refinery last weekend received its first shipment of 1 million barrels of crude oil, and they say it's expected to receive 6 million liters before they kick off production, and they say in the next 2 to 3 weeks, they expect the next consignment from the NNPCL. All right, the next 4 million liters would come from the NNPCL, with the other 1 million liters coming from ExxonMobil. Now, if it's going to take the next 2-3 weeks to get the next consignment, which may not be 4 million liters, because as it is, we're doing about 1.2 million liters per day in crude oil production. With Nigeria as a nation, give all of that, for let's say 4 weeks or 4 days to Dangote refinery alone, we're not sure. So it would probably take longer than the 2 to 3 weeks that